Is this thing rolling? How's it going, everybody? How's your day? Hopefully it's going well. Mine's going all right. It's going decently. You may notice a bit of a background change. Not really a background change, more that I moved over 3 feet. There is something that I want to address before we start class today. I realized yesterday, or last week, I said today we would be doing double nunchucks. That may have been a little bit of a fib. Accidentally. I realized that Chodan bow testing's tonight, and a lot of the Chodan bows come to these classes to get what they need, believe it or not. But the only weapon they really need at Chodan bow is a Screamo. Once you get to black belt, there will be bow staffs and things like that, and I'll probably do that as we get closer to certain people's black belt tests. But for today, I figured we would do a Screamo one more time. More specifically, running through all 4 of our counts, just making sure that we're all good to go. Today, instead of just running through the counts, we're going to talk more about footwork. I actually saw a black belt test this weekend. I saw 2. If you guys want to, you can go back and rewatch it on our channel. It is our black belt test, and then I saw our Kicks black belt test. Both were absolutely incredible, but it reminded me of how important feet work is in everything that we do. Some things that we really excelled on, but other times we kind of were lacking on good stances. A lot of times we just fall in line with forms or other things like that, so we don't really worry about, where should my feet be? How deep should my front stance be? Stuff like that. And especially when it comes to a Screamo. A lot of times on a Screamo you see this. Or where they're not really moving their feet, even on 4 count. So today it's going to be more about feet work as we go through all 4 things. By the way, it's good to see Kaylin here, Sam, and Ryan. All right, let's get going, shall we? To get started, here's what I'd like you to do. Hug yourself back and forth. 1, 2. So this is going to be our final Screamo class, and I mean it. Actually, we did do double nunchuck last week, didn't we? But I wanted to do one more Screamo class with the Chodan bows, who are testing tonight. So unfortunately, unless you're a Chodan bow or a family of a Chodan bow, you're not welcome to come. But if you're interested to see what they're doing, we're going to probably do it in today's class, at least weapons-wise. All right, take your Screamos, move them up, shake them out, up and cross. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good job, guys. My elbow got a little bit tweaked this weekend, so if you ever see me making a face, that's why. All right, now I want you to go 1, 2, going across. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We'll get back to double nunchucks next week, I promise. I promise. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, now we're gonna go high, 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 high. Hello, how's it going? Hey, I can't think of other ways to say hi. What's up? What's up? Man, I should have paid attention to the early 2000s. I would have a whole bunch by now. All right, now lows. 1. Oh, I'm doing the triple count. Feel free if you know it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you don't know it, just go 1, 2, 1, 2. If you know it, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, that's my elbow there. If you don't know it, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. All right, so at this point, your shoulders are probably getting a little bit warmed up here, and that's perfect. There's one more drill that we're going to be working on. It's going to warm up our wrist, kind of our movement a bit. We're going to do 3 stabs. 1 to the center of the body, 1 to the eyes, 1 to the opposite eyes. We're going to go back and forth with this. So this is going to be our final kind of warm up of Screamo strings. Take your Screamo. I have my yellow one, but you may have different differentiating factors to yours. Stab forward. Now bring your elbow up as if there's a string tied to it. You're a marionette puppet. It lifts up, stab. Now bring that same string, bring it around, stab. So let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. Other side. 1, same thing. Elbow up. 2, elbow around. 3. So we're going to go back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I always think of, when I'm doing this, of that roller coaster at Parker Days. If you guys have been to Parker Days or another festival where it's like a giant skateboard and it goes back and forth. If you've been to Elitch Gardens, the same ride, right? This is gonna come up, stab, stab. So I'm kind of on this like half pipe as I go through. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I did that the opposite direction, doesn't matter as long as you're kind of doing these strikes. All right, so now that we got our hands warmed up, we're gonna work on our feet a bit. Take your escrimas, put them in one hand. We're gonna be using just our feet here. What I want you to practice doing is rotating your heel out. Showing your heel to a person over here, and same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna take a small step out, rotate my heel. Now, once you get this down, there's one other thing that I really want you to do on this turn. So you're getting used to the movement, getting used to turning your hips, which is important. If you put your hands out, it's kind of going like this, right? You're drawing this like kind of dish, washer kind of motion, right? Once you got that down, I want you to work on moving your head off of center mass. So center mass being straightforward, right? So if somebody was gonna strike me down there, if I went like this, I shouldn't be hit by it. Notice how I'm moving my upper body as well as moving my lower body. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I'm stepping into this rotation. I'm stepping into it. But you can also just rotate into it here. I tend to step because it's a bit easier for me. Perfect. Now we're gonna work on shooting our legs out. So sometimes this isn't enough for moving my head off the center line, so I'm going to go here. I'm gonna fully step off, almost like I'm making a front stance this way. So feet together, step off this way. 1, 2. Now let's speed it up a bit. 1, 2. Shoot away. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now you may be going fast at this, you may be going slow. It does not matter as long as you're doing it. At Jordan and Bo, they're usually going to go by the end at this pace where they're really switching their feet and switching their hips. You're probably right here right now. That works as well. All right, do some hip circles for me. This last one's going to be a bit more difficult. This last one's going to be a bit more difficult. We're going to take the first one that we did, except we're going to speed it up a ton and we're going to step less. We're going to speed it up a ton and step less. So look at me. I'm going to switch and I'm just going to be using my hips to rotate. It's a lot like, I don't know, it's a lot like skiing. There's a couple differences, but the main part is I'm rotating into it. The second I hit my full apex, meaning I fully turn my hips this way, I immediately twist the other direction. My hips, if I have little things attached to them, if you look here, they're moving back and forth, but they're moving rather fast. They're never holding at one position. 1, 2, the second it hits out, it's almost like it's hitting the bar, and then return. Think about it like a round kick, a lazy round kick that a white belt would do. Perfect, back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Skiing a bit more, it looks more like it, right? Now, take your escrimas, let's add some movement to it. Or let's add some stick movement to it. The first one we're going to be doing is what we just did here. So we're going to do those strikes that we just did, except we're just going to turn into it. 1, 2, 1, 2. Windshield wipers here. 1 strike, 1 strike, 1 strike, 1 strike. Remember, head off center line. Now, if you're not going fast with this, you're struggling with this a bit, strike through, come out the same way. Don't have to go fast, but notice how I strike, how my hips turn with my strike. Remember how I did this a second ago? That same motion. My hand, elbow, and heel are tied together. The last second, I'm going to strike or straighten my wrist out. Now that I'm here, I'm just going to keep this stance and then extend my elbow straight. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This other eskrima, you're eventually going to be using. For now, just kind of leave it tucked under your, by your belt, under your armpit. 1, 2. Nice. Now try doing the low one that we worked on. Now see if you can do it middle. Nice, okay. Now let's do the same thing that we did. We're gonna move on to number 2, where we did this shoot step. How we shoot our feet out, we lean our body forward. As we do this, we're gonna strike there. I was talking to a Chodambo this week about it. How I explained it to them was this first strike, you're hitting towards the head, and it's gonna be kind of deflected or missed. So the second that happens, we wanna hit towards the leg as soon as we can. Now, if I go like this, was that very fast? Try it out, see how fast it goes. Do these crazy strikes. It's powerful, but it's not fast, and especially when you have an opponent that knows what you're doing, it's not gonna hit. So instead, I want you to windshield wiper across, same thing that we did as we stepped. But instead of bringing it all the way back and chambering and striking this knee, you're just gonna flip your wrist upside down and immediately hit. So our goal is to go fast, not to have this powerful strike through. So straight out, step out, as you step, strike. Flip your wrist, down, bam. Feet together, hit, through, flip, down. See how my wrist is just kind of flipping there? 1, 2, 1, 2. What's so great about this strike is if you have a mirror at home, you can practice this. When you step out, you're hitting towards your head in the mirror. If you look at me through the screen, you'll notice that I'm hitting myself in the head. Oh, wrong way. The wrong way again. This is harder than it looks. No! You're hitting yourself. So you're striking through, and then you're aiming towards your bottom knee there. See how I'm, bam, hitting right onto the kneecap. Ready again? 1, flip, 2, 1, 2. If you try to do the head motion with this, you have to move the same direction with this screamer. It took me a second, like, how am I doing this? It's hard when you're like looking at it, right? If I was looking away, I think I could maybe do it a bit better. 1, 2. Flip your wrist, bam, down. 1, 2. 1, 2. If you got that down, start adding a bit of a hop to your step. Really rotate your hip into it. Strike down. It's almost like you're drawing a semicircle. 1, 2. Again, head off the center line. All right, so the final one we talked about was redondo. Now, I didn't say redondo, I said it was skiing. It's that same motion. For right now, we're not going to do our third strike. We're just going to work on 2 strikes on this rotation, okay? So, you're going to rotate out. Remember, it's this one. We're going fast, back and forth. So what you're going to do is, while your hips are facing this way, you're going to strike twice. Then while your hips are this way, strike twice. I don't care how you strike, I just want you to strike twice, okay? So you can go 1, 2, 1, 2, treat it like a bongo, but get used to turning into it. So as I turn, I strike. Now, if you're using your backhand, it works just as well. You can still have power through that. It's not going to be correct for our final combo, but for now, you're getting used to turning your hips and using your eskrima with that motion. Are you ready? Turn. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now your goal is to go fast with this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you're getting used to this movement. You're turning into it. Hips, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2. If you get used to this turning your hips while swinging your escrimas, you get used to that motion, things are gonna make more sense. A good example, keep doing that as I'm talking, is it's a lot like when we first learned our round kick, right? When we first started, we were going here. It felt weird, it felt awkward, it didn't feel good. It felt like it hurt a bit. And when we use our escrimas like this, the same thing happens where it feels weird, it feels awkward, and we're not used to it. But the second you start to rotate, you use your body into it, finally it starts to click, right? So when it comes to escrima, it's turning your hips and using your arms. The second you're able to feel that motion and feel that power behind, then it's gonna just click for you. Just like you're turning kicks, just like you're boxing and kickboxing, if you just use one part of your body and you try to do it, it's not gonna feel right because it's not. All right, so now let's do the harder combo of the two. So we're gonna start out with our 6 count. Now the kicks testing, I loved it. They actually did 3 count high here. You typically, if you're at Hammer and UMAC, we just do 6 count where we go high, middle, high, high, middle, high. For you guys, if you're watching from kicks, it's high, high, high. That you guys also do low, low, low. So either one of those are fine. If you want to try something new and you haven't done it yet, you're from Hammer and UMAC, try the high, high, high. Try the low, low, low. Now remember, wherever you're going, you're gonna have to face your chest. So if you're going low, your chest needs to be facing down. If you're going high, your chest needs to be angled up so you can really hit that strike. And if you're doing this middle, your chest needs to make sure that it's facing the center. All right, so let's go through it. Our 3 strikes. Step your foot out, turn your foot out. I'm facing this way, I'm striking this way. So as I do that step, strike. Your body's open, strike through with your bottom hand, top high, head off the center line, retie. Reset, 1, 2, 3, 3. If you've not done this before, this is the first time you're seeing this, and you're like, Master Nick, you just went from 0 to 100 real fast, just do 2 strikes. I care more about you stepping and you using your escrima than about you doing the correct strikes right now. If you're a Chodan-mo, you're a black belt, I need you to do the right thing, but most likely you've seen this before, so me telling you to go high, middle, high is not this foreign concept. So again, I'm going to point out a couple of things that I'm doing. I'm rotating my hips as I strike. My head's coming off the center line, and then I'm fully extending my arms on these strikes. Think about it as like kind of like a back fist. Like you do a couple of punches, you go like hook, round kick, and then you're landing and you're hitting with this cheeky back fist to get that final point in. 1, 2, 3. Notice how my body's getting a bit lower too. If I'm going high, 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 it's the same thing. I can lean a bit back, and you don't have to lean back when you're going high. The key thing here is that you are angling your sticks up towards the head and not to the heavens. We're not going way up here, and we're not going down here either. It's towards the head. Again, you can practice this on the mirror. Low, low, low. All right, now let's do our final combo, Redondo. Redondo. Now on Redondo, this is one that I feel like most Chodan-mo struggled with. Not only that, most red belts and brown belts and black belts have struggled with this combo over the past several weeks because they didn't have a partner to do it with. This one's very hard when you're not connecting sticks. The other ones are hard, but I would say this is the most difficult. So Redondo is where I go 3 strikes. It's this fast rotation that we did, like literally 5 minutes ago. So, if you don't have a partner, this is hard. If you have a partner, you can have them be out there sticks like this and you can practice slowly. You're gonna do 3 strikes. You're gonna turn your chest, open your body towards a stick on this side. You're gonna hit it once, extend through with the bottom hand, re-strike. When I went through this in class 2 or 3 weeks ago, I talked about hitting the collarbone of the other person as you're coming through, and then hitting on the opposite side. That's what we're doing with this technique, although we're demonstrating it more angled down here. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, switch. Now the thing that's gonna make this smooth is this little step that we were doing before, right? This rotation. The second this eskrima hits, I'm rotating into the next one. That's what's going to make this smooth. The second I hit my apex of my turn, I'm bringing it back around. Now practice it by yourself as we're doing this. Feel free to switch in about 30 seconds, count to yourself. When you're doing this, a very, very important part is you don't have to retuck, you can, but you don't have to on this, because once you're here, you go 1, 2, 3. Me striking this other side, as I rotate, it retucks for me. So this final strike, bam, retucks automatically as I'm going through. So I don't have to go. Because when I hit this third strike, as I rotate, it's already here. That's what's going to speed up your combo. Make sure both partners get to go. Make sure you keep your wrists a bit slack and you're stepping off center line. It's this hip movement that's helping you go fast with this. All right, take a couple more seconds to do this. Don't let me spin in my eskrimas stop you from doing what you're doing. All right, take another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Face me. Chariot, kunye. This is one of my favorite things. But also remember that it's important to spend some time on it and show respect. Just like you wouldn't want somebody from Hapkido doing Taekwondo but never fully learning what a round kick is used for, they'll do eskrimas if you're like, man, I don't really care about them. Show respect to the martial art. This comes from Kali, this comes from Hapkido. There's a lot of different martial arts that use things like these. Kali is the first and foremost, but you'll see him in Jeet Kune Do as well. Practice them well, study them well, go through, watch some other videos on it. Don't just watch me. I'm like a white belt in this stuff. Like, maybe not even that. It's good to go get other perspectives on it and make sure that you're using the proper things. One thing that I can stress a lot, that even white belts learn, is using your body while using these weapons and doing any sort of martial arts, right? There's not a martial art where you stand like this and you punch for a million years. Every martial art uses their entire body, using their legs, using their hips, using their shoulders, using their torso, and using their arms in conjunction with each other. So as you're practicing your eskrimas this week, make sure that you're using all parts of your body and you're just not flailing your hands around. Face me, chariot, kunye. What's our goal? Black belt, excellent sir. I will see you guys next time. Bye.